For 7 years, Derek Mohanguzi lived in the United Kingdom, going to college where he earned a diploma in theology and then pursued a bachelor's degree in sound engineering from 2008 to 2015. However, he never completed his studies. As fate would have it, Mohanguzi, popularly known as Wonder J.R, was caught up in the wrong company one night at a campus party that landed him in detention in the UK. Sentenced to 4 months for a petty offense, Wanda chose to carry the burden alone, keeping his family in the dark.
The first 2 months were particularly very turbulent. You know, when your own parents are trying to call you and ask you what's going on and you can't even explain it. You can't even put it into speech.
Wanda told us that detention in a foreign country became one of the darkest moments in his life, where he succumbed to emotional, psychological breakdown.
You feel so alone, and that can take a toll on your mental health. You're always having to see, that's the time I actually said to see the therapists and just trying to make sense. The only place that made sense in that entire detention cell was a church or a mosque, because that's the only place you'd find solace.
After serving the sentence, Wanda was set free, only to find a bigger storm outside the jail. In 2016, he was deported back to Uganda, where he faced utmost criticism and rejection from his family.
What I was doing essentially, which is what I'm doing now, telling a story, whether sonically, visually, aesthetically, at the time was not making sense. It, at the time, brought a very big conflict between me and my mom. People see me on social media with my mom having jokes and so on, but believe it or not, a couple of years back, it was not the case. I still got into major depression and anxiety because when everyone around you is telling you no, 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 it doesn't matter how tough you are, you will cave.
Dr. Annie Pink, a psychotherapist and hypnotist at Ruby Hospital, says many people experience mental health struggles due to high expectations, both from society and from within themselves.
Most of us have our own understanding about life. We think that if I have number 1 to 10 in my checklist, then I will be happy. Now, the checklist might be things which is practical, or it might be things that you're dreaming of. Now, all that together will create your cage. You're going to add bars in your cage and surround it around you and say that I need all of these things to be happy.
She urges people not to fall prey to these pressures of life, but rather strike the balance by identifying one's purpose, reducing expectations, and creating boundaries.
Our cage is here, and that is why we are focusing on the health here. So mental health doesn't mean that you are insane, and that is why you need to go for a mental health checkup. It's not that. Everybody, you and me, also have challenges. We are stressed, work stress, family stress, partner stress, right? There is so much of stress around us in a daily basis. Now, how do you face that? What motivates you to come out every day? Get out of your bed. So there are 3 important things. I want, I need, I have. Now, if you know to define all these things, then the purpose of your life will be more meaningful.
In hindsight, Wanda says his experience enabled him discover who he was and his purpose. Recognizing that men's mental health is frequently sidelined and shrouded in silence, he founded M3, a dedicated space where young men and boys can find mentorship and navigate life's unexpected crises without judgment.
Mold, mentor, multiply, right? So it was precisely birthed to give boys a voice, particularly the boy child. The girls are doing incredibly well, fighting for the corporate spaces and so on, which is rightfully so. However, it has completely left the boys behind in ways I cannot even describe. Right now we're doing school outreaches, and recently there's a headmaster who called me and told me how boys in the school are becoming a problem. And it's manifesting through substance abuse. They literally have sniffer dogs at that school. It's that bad. It's manifesting through the academia. They are performing incredibly poorly.
While mental health advocacy has reached an all-time high in Uganda, the statistics remain grim. Substance and alcohol abuse, frequently used as coping mechanisms for underlying mental health struggles, prevail at a staggering 70% among Ugandan youth.
Systematically, there's a big deficit. And I've been fortunate enough that I've been in rooms with our elders and mothers and fathers. And my advice to them is, right, you guys are leading us, and rightfully so, but you must invite us into the rooms to understand the issues we're dealing with. Because your inability to admit that we're struggling is precisely why we find ourselves in this mess.
Gary Opoka of Soul Foundation says that for some of the best ways to get out of any mental cage is simply hanging out at a picnic with friends in the search of mental clarity.
Life today has caused us to sort of isolate from each other because, you know, we are trying to make money and so on and so forth. But when you have activities like this that bring us together, it allows us on a soul level to start a healing that is communal. We are social beings. So there is a prescription today or a therapy that is called social prescribing. What happens in this case is that people are asked to go as a prescription, as part of therapy, go out and socialize, go and meet with other people. And that helps us to see each other by force, because you know when people have mental health issues, they want to isolate.
The fight against the stigma is far from over, but as Wanda's journey shows, healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when we create a community willing to listen. Beata Moema, NTV.